Welcome back, everyone, to Buying. I almost said blue collar. Welcome back to Buying Local. I'm your host, Mike Nelson from 5 Towers Media. You can hear my dog clanking his food bowl in the background. He's trying to tell me something here. Joined today by, I always want to say the wrong last name, by Janice Durant from New Trails Business Consultants. Damn it. I was going to say solutions. I always have to mess something up with the intro, apparently. So, how are you?
Good. How are you, Mike?
I'm good. You're not nervous at all, are you?
Not at all.
First podcast?
Yeah, I'm really cool with my son now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He was very nice.
I told him he's coming home today, and I said, I won't be there. I'm doing a podcast. He's like, whoa, Mom.
Yeah, trendy.
Yeah.
Also, I bit my tongue really hard earlier eating some deviled eggs, so if I sound like I have marbles in my mouth at some point in time, that is why. So forgive the blah that's going to come out of my mouth. So, Janice, New Trails.
Yep.
What is it?
So I like to say, Mike, that I am a chief franchise matchmaker.
Okay.
So I've been in the franchise world for 20 years and really love it. And I help individuals who are looking to start their own business, aren't sure what they want to do. They're just really looking to get out of corporate and take control of their lives, maybe even do something with their family. And they're not sure what. They have skills. They've been good leaders, good managers, a little bit of sales experience, and they just know that there's something better out there for them. And they really don't know what to do. And they don't want to start from scratch. And so they come to me and they say, this is my background. These are my interests. This is what I want to achieve in my life. And I match them with the opportunities that align with all the requirements that they gave me.
So I'm going to ask a question and then I'm going to shut the windows because the traffic driving by is really distracting to me right now. So I'll ask it and then I'll shut the windows. Don't answer yet.
Okay.
I'd like to know, when they're what some of those things are. You know what I mean? Like when they're saying, these are the kinds of things I'd like to achieve, or these are the things I want to do, or this is how I want to spend my time. I want to get some examples. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, everyone. Okay. And we're back. Okay. So right before I really got up to shut those windows, you were talking about just some of the things that they say to you. What kind of?
So before I came here, I was having a conversation with a woman who she's tired of the corporate rat race. She doesn't want to go in there. There's been some changes in management. She's not so sure that she's aligned with the vision of where the company's going anymore. And she's like, I have all these skills. I don't know what I want to do. Exploring, starting my own business. Maybe I'll stay in the workforce. I'm not sure. And so I really help people understand, is business ownership for them? Because it is not for everybody. Is franchise ownership for them, right? You have to have that drive, that ambition, the desire to do stuff. But you also have to follow a process, right? So that's what franchising brings, is that process. And that's not for everybody. Some people, want that blank sheet of paper where they want to put down their ideas. They don't want to answer to anybody. They want to do it. And that's fine, right? If after the conversation we come to that conclusion that you need to open your own business, I like that sometimes even better, right? Go build it, develop it, get the processes down, make mistakes, have the successes, and then come back to me. I can help you franchise it, right? And you become the franchisor.
Okay, so you don't just match make, you also take existing businesses and help them turn it into a franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, I do everything that's related to franchising.
Tell me what that looks like as far as taking an existing business and turning it into a franchise, like helping the business owner do that.
Yeah. So if somebody has a successful business, maybe they have 1 or 2 locations already. It's a bit unique, right? That's what we're always looking for in a franchise, is what is that draw that people are going to want to come into it. Has to have a trademarked name, well run, profitable, right? Repeatable. And then they come to me, I talk to them about it. Are they ready? Right? In that case, it's all about the owner. And is that owner ready and willing and able to step back from running the business? Because being a franchisor is different than being the one who's running the concept, the location, right? Because you have to be going out and looking for franchises to bring in, interviewing them, making sure that they're a good match, working with people like me to make sure that that territory is available, and then onboarding them, right? So you have to have all of that documented. You have to have an operations manual. You have to have the agreement. So you have to have at least between $70,000 to $100,000 to just become a franchisor.
I was going to ask that question, right? Because that's not what you're getting paid.
No, I can connect them. I have, 3 or 4 in my portfolio of organizations that help people become franchisors. So they do all of the legal work. They'll interview them. I'm just the first screener, and they'll really talk to them about this is what it's franchising is about, the investment. They'll help them to write the franchise disclosure document, to get approval in the various states, to set up that entity legally to be that franchisor.
And don't you have to get registered with is it the SEC or
it's the Federal Trade Commission regulates franchising. So a lot of people don't realize that, but franchising is very regulated. You have to have an annual franchise disclosure document that you file in every state that you want to sell a franchise in. There's 13 states that are registration states, so that process takes a little bit longer to get approval. You might want to, especially once you have more than locations, everybody asks, well, how much money can I make when I invest in a franchise? That's probably the number one question is that I need to replace this amount of income. And that guides, what I have them looking at. And so you want to have an item 19, which discloses the financial performance.
So
not required, but it helps.
It's helpful. You want to know how well that the other franchises are doing.
Yeah.
Probably a good indicator of how well you're going to do.
Yeah.
So if the people that are going to buy a franchise, from what you're saying and from what I understand about franchises, all the heavy lifting's been done, right? These processes work. It's kind of a proven formula. You're going to take it. You're going to just rinse and repeat, right? Just follow the formula. Don't get, right? So we used to say in Sandler, don't get creative.
Don't get creative.
Don't get creative. Just follow the formula. But what kind of people, is it the people that are natural salespeople? Is it people that are naturally good at operation? What sort of person is going to do well with a franchise?
That's a great question, Mike. So
that's what I do, Janice. I ask great questions.
You must be Sandler trained.
Must be.
People will come to me and they think that franchising, because they invest in a franchise, that the customers are just going to show up. Right now, that's going to be true if you're McDonald's or Chick-fil-A and you have the right location that people are driving by when they're hungry. But you still have to do sales. It doesn't matter if it's a franchise or you start your own business. Nothing happens until you make a sale. And so that owner really has to be involved in driving those sales, whether they do the sales themselves or they hire somebody. But that's one of the questions I ask. How comfortable are you with sales? Because there's really different ways to go about getting sales. There's that direct outreach where you're making those cold calls, you're going to networking events, you're knocking on doors. But then there's also marketing, right? Where people are just searching. They need a product or a service, and they're just going to go to Google or Yelp, and they're going to find you. And you just have to close them. Or there's, like I said, McDonald's, where you're storefront, you're walking by and I'm hungry, or I want an ice cream, and you go in for that. And
there's a brand recognition, with a McDonald's. Is that one of the powers of the franchise is just that you're dealing with brand recognition from other markets?
Yeah. So you have the brand recognition. That owner has figured out what's worked, what is the ad that you place it, who's that ideal client. They train you on all of that. They provide the marketing resources that you might just have to go and post locally on your social media account. But that's one of the benefits is they provide a lot of that information for you.
I think talking about sales and having to be a salesperson is a great segue into talking about your background, because it's not in sales. And because I'm sure that a lot of people are hearing, can't be afraid of sales, and you got to be able to go out and make, bring in new clients. And some people are probably thinking I really don't like that part of things. Right. And so we should talk about
My past.
Your past. Your past. Your resume. Because you're primarily from an operations background.
Primarily, yes.
Right? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Give our audience the rundown.
So, well, actually, I come from an entrepreneurial family.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in my family owns a business, right? And so growing up, I always wanted to own a business, but I just didn't see myself driving my dad's bulldozer.
Mm.
And so I just went to work, went to college.
Did you ever drive your dad's bulldozer?
No, he didn't let me. I could ride on it with him, but I could never drive it.
That's fine.
So I went to college for business and then, worked in a few areas. You might know Lorraine Ferguson. I know you know.
Mm-hmm.
So she's my sister. And so we worked together for years. And then we decided that we wanted to own a business. And so we invested in the Sandler franchise. But from day one, we decided that we would sell it around year 10. And we sold it at year 11. But I really, at that time, Lorraine was sales. I said, Lorraine, I don't want anything to do with sales. And she's like, good, because I don't want anything to do with operations. And so it worked for us. And then, being a small business owner, she went on vacation once and she said, hey, can you do the sales call? And I did it. And I was like, whoa. And then I called her and I said, I closed it. And she's like, you closed it in one call? And I go, yeah. And I told her how much I got. She's like, you're crazy. I can't believe you got that much. So I was like, well, I didn't know any better.
Right.
And then, it just going through learning the Sandler methodology, it just resonated with me, gave me the confidence that I needed to do it. And before I knew it, Mike, I was doing sales.
Wow.
And now I do sales all day. I make cold calls all day.
Are you cold calling all day?
They're a little warm, but mostly cold calls.
Yeah.
I'm about 30 to 40 a day.
I was going to say, I think I've talked to you a few times in the last couple of weeks, and every time I do, you're like, I got this call, and I got this call, and I got this call. It's like, wow, Janice is killing it.
I'm making the calls.
Making the calls.
Yeah.
Doing
and it's
the work.
not bad, right?
Yeah.
Because I've been trained, and that's I just know what I'm looking for. I know the questions to ask. So Sandler's definitely helped me become better at sales. But then I also went into this endeavor knowing that there was a process that's worked for other franchise consultants. And I just believe in it, and I do it, and it works. So.
Oh, and shout out to Matt Scarkelli at Sandler Training.
Yes.
If you're looking in the greater Albany region, you're looking for some great sales training, Matt's got a call for sure.
Absolutely.
That's not a paid promotion either. We both really believe in Sandler. It was life-changing for me.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this many times, but
It is for many people.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you let it, I guess.
Yeah, and so when Matt bought it, year 11, I didn't want to leave Sandler. I really liked it. I liked the people. I liked the methodology. So I approached Dave Mattson, the CEO, and I said, hey, from a franchisee's perspective, this is what I think's missing. How about you bring me on board? So I went there, ended up leading that organization, the franchise side, and supported the 220 around the globe.
Around the globe.
Around the globe.
Worldwide. That's like, I'm like, well, I worked for a worldwide franchise.
Yeah.
I'm very fancy.
Yeah, very fancy.
Or at least I used to be fancy. I'm just a dumb farmer, I guess. But so
we should talk about that, Mike. I got
should.
into farming too.
we should. How I got into farming?
Yeah.
You just want to tell the egg story.
Yeah, I do. I want to take credit for it, Mike.
Do you want to tell the egg story? Or should we leave the audience hanging for a couple minutes?
A couple minutes.
All right.
We'll tell them.
So, curious to hear about, so you're working for Sandler. You decide to leave and make the transition into owning your own business. Now, is New Trails, I assume, is a franchise?
No,
Oh, it's not?
it's not.
Is it a licensee?
Kind of, it's more of an affiliation with
Okay.
FranServe. So I needed, somebody to provide me with access to the 800 plus franchises that I have in the portfolio, right? Instead of me going and developing direct relationships with all of them, they give me this platform, all this information, the relationship, conferences, access to them. So it's really, an affiliation with a FranServe. But yeah.
Okay. That's surprising.
I know
thought it was
is
a franchise that sells franchise.
It's more of a business opportunity.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. So the transition from moving into operations to New Trails and then having to sell Now, at this point, you've got a little sales in your background from when you and Lorraine were at Sandler, but you'd been
Well, I was also doing a little selling the last year I was with Sandler
Okay.
because I would go to the business franchise consultant conferences. So I'd have to present Sandler
okay.
to them. And so it was really very easy for me to make the transition. I just fell in love with it. It was like, wow, this blends my passion for understanding people, fulfilling their dreams. And it's just every day it's a happy conversation, right? They're looking forward to, I want to go there. I want to be this. I want to achieve this. And so I just love every phone call I have. They're all happy and painting this picture of where they want to be. And I help them get there.
What do you think's the hardest thing about people opening up their first franchise?
Great question. I think the biggest.
That's what I do, Janice.
I know.
Jeez.
It's I got to get used to that.
I know, right?
I know. Wow.
It's wild.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I have to overcome is fear. It means it's scary.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you come up with this vision of where you want to go. You're tired of the grind every day of going into the office or working, on the Zoom calls or whatever you're doing, and you're just not moving forward. Maybe your talents aren't recognized and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. But then you come home and you talk to other people, and people are risk averse, right? They don't have the same dreams that you and I have. And so trying to get people to buy into that can be overwhelming. And they're like, it'd be like this, guess what? I'm going to take money out of our savings account. I'm going to quit the job. I don't know when I'll get a paycheck. I don't know if I'll be successful, but I really want to do this. You're okay with that, right? Many times significant others aren't. And that's where I come in as well. I want everybody to be at the table, right? So if it's a spousal relationship, I want to talk to both of them, right? They both need to be comfortable, because if you don't have everybody on board, it's much harder to achieve your dreams.
How much money are we talking here?
Ideally, I think in order to start a really decent operation, you need at least 150.
Yeah.
Now, yes, I have ones in the portfolio for $30,000, $50,000, but it's much more limited. So your options are limited. So the chances of us finding something that resonates with you is going to be a little harder.
And do people finance that stuff? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. Small business association loans.
Okay.
Yeah. SBA loans.
So you can be able to finance it and then work on it that way if you don't have a couple $100,000 kicking in the kitty.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do. You have to have a down payment. It's like buying a house, right? And that's where I like to start with people is, okay, how much liquid cash do you have? And then what's your credit score? You need at least a 700 credit score. And then I'll introduce them to financing experts, or they can go down to their local bank, write a business plan. Many times the franchisors have those, in a rough draft where you just have to personalize it, or, your loan official can help you with that as well. And then you can finance it. Yeah. And then there's also, you can get a home equity. You can use your 401ks. There's a special program to do that where you're not penalized tax-wise or deferral.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a really good program.
I didn't know that existed. I mean, not that I'm a franchise expert anyway, but who knew?
Yeah.
So tell the egg story.
Okay. I was going to ask you if we go there now. So remember that time we were at my house? We had a little powwow for Sandler.
Yes.
Lorraine came up. You had your kids. They were in the pool hanging
that's
out with
right.
my
I did
kids.
bring my kids.
Yeah. It was like a casual thing, although Lorraine was a little stressed, I think.
All those damn kids.
Running around, jumping in the pool,
Making
wet.
noise, yeah.
Yeah, making noise. And I had chickens, and I think I had goats too. Did I have the goats?
I don't even remember if you had goats.
I think I had the goats.
I remember the chickens.
And you were leaving, and I gave you a gift of eggs. And the look on your face when I gave you those
Did I take the eggs?
You took the eggs.
I was being polite.
You were being polite, and I knew it. Yeah.
It's really interesting because I always refer to myself as Pretty Boy Mike back then because I was clean shaven and no tattoos and no beard, or I said clean shaven, or bow ties and had pocket squares and all that fun stuff. And the idea of eating those eggs, like the idea of eating any food that didn't come to the grocery store at that point in time, like just completely grossed me out.
Yeah.
And now it's a complete 180 because now the idea of eating food from the grocery store is what creeps me out. And I would rather pull food from my farm than go to the grocery store.
Yeah, I mean, right before this, we just went and looked at your chickens and
pigs.
ducks and pigs.
And ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah, little quackers.
So now you need to return the favor, and once you get those duck eggs, I want some.
You want duck eggs?
I want to try them.
Okay. I don't even know how many layers I have. They could be all boys.
Oh.
I bought a straight run. I was like, ducks. I'm going to feed them and eat them at some point, but
Okay.
I mean, I know they're cute, but
They are cute. They were very cute.
It's farming, everybody. So back to franchising. What does, and we talked about it a little bit, but like someone's going to sit down with you. What does the overall process look like for them to meet with you, meeting one, and then go through selection and buy and the whole deal?
Yeah. So the first time, you need probably 30 to 40 minutes. You know, some people have a lot more vision, but most of the time it's me asking questions. What are you looking for? What are your passions? What do you know you don't want to do? So could you just let's just start with the money, right? How much are you comfortable investing? Are you open to financing? What's your credit score, your net worth? And then really important to me is also how much income are you looking to replace? So that's the pretty easy ones to answer. And then we move on to what's your background? What's your skill set? Have you managed people? Have you led people? What do you like about what you do now? What do you really wish you didn't have to do every day? What do you want it to look like? Is it just you? Do you want to be the person, in the truck going out and doing the jobs, where you're doing everything, where you're making the sale, you're delivering the product or the service, you're doing the invoicing, collecting the payment, all of that, social marketing, everything. You do everything. Or do you want to be the manager who's hiring the technicians to go out and do the jobs? Do you want to do home services? Or do you want to be semi-absentee? And that's, I get that a lot. I'm not ready to quit my job. Do you have anything semi-absentee? Let's talk about that, Mike.
Yeah.
You're going to hand over hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're okay with just having somebody else do that. You're expecting that the money's just going to start rolling in, and it's just not reality. You can get there. Now, I can get you there. But you need at least 6 to 18 months of working the business, right? Because how else are you going to hire somebody to do the work? How do you know that they're doing the right things? That they're representing you well, that they're hiring the right people, that they're managing the people the right way. So you really, from my perspective, that's a long-term goal, is to be their semi-absentee. But then there are things that I can give you that are truly semi-absentee.
If you're allowed to say this, what's the best franchise move going right now?
I think there's some trends going on.
Okay.
Senior services is hot. I mean, 10 million people turn 65 every day. And
what do you do with senior service? Is it shuttling people around to go get?
It could be transporting them to their doctor's appointments. It could be, helping to find a home or assisted living facility that the parent or anybody really, it doesn't even have to be, due to age, but some people need to go into assisted living facilities, finding the right one. Geographically, where is it located? What services, dementia care, all of that kind of stuff has to be taken into consideration. So that's what some people do, is they help you find the right one. They go on the tours with you. Could be that, another big one is helping them transition into the home, right? Making sure it's scary. Mom and dad are going in this new place. They don't want to go. So somebody can come in and help them transition. What are the favorite photos you want to take with you? What do you keep on your bedside table? Is it on the right or the left side of the bed? So that when you go and you set it up for them, so that when they walk in, they're like, oh, this looks
Somewhat familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you go back and you do an estate sale for the house and it's ready for sale.
And they take care of all that stuff.
Yeah. Take care of that, or in-home services, non-medical.
So it's like a concierge for...
Yeah. Those are 4 different concepts right there.
Okay.
So you can really choose what you want to do.
Interesting.
Pet services is huge too.
Pet services?
Pet services.
Like, what does that even mean?
Oh, well, let's see. We have mobile grooming,
Okay.
right? So your dog doesn't like to get in the car, get stressed out when you take him to the groomer. I'll come to your house. I'll groom him in the driveway, in my van. We also have waste management for pets.
I've actually seen, I think, a franchise advertisement on Facebook for that, actually.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called now.
There's a few of them.
Yeah. And they go around like scoop and poop.
Scoop and poop. And deodorizing the lawns and, fixing the spots on the lawn or just getting rid of the urine smell. Yeah.
So I hear you saying things that like are really jobs that most people don't want to do. And that's why there's a demand for them, I'd imagine, right? Like that's always like, if you want to make a lot of money, do the things that no one wants to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. In some cases, yeah.
Like scoop and poop.
Yeah. And low skill level, great summer
Right,
job
barrier to
for
entry.
people or a senior citizen who just wants to do something every once in a while. And that's the tough, that you asked me, what's the hardest part of my job? I think it's the fear, and then also people being shifting their mindset to being the business owner. Because I'll talk to them about those things, and they're like, I don't want to do that job. And I'm like, I don't want you to do that job. Right? The franchisors don't want you to do that. They want you to be driving sales, developing relationships, and that business is highly scalable. Add another truck.
And another shovel or
Yep,
scooper or
another
whatever.
scooper, and that's those franchisors. That's what they say to me. I don't want the person who wants to ride around in the truck. I want somebody who wants to build this into a business.
Do you find that a lot of the more successful franchises that you're working with are more service-based than product-based?
Yeah, I'd say they're more service-based.
Like home services?
Home services, that could be HVAC, plumbers, electricians, screen window repair.
I mean, it's funny you say that, actually. I spoke with someone recently that did that. But, like, people don't know how to do it. Like, any of those things that you just mentioned. Like, we talk about it on our other podcast, Blue Collar Startup, all the time.
Yep.
20 years ago, everyone knew how to seat a new, change the wax ring on their toilet or fix the screen door or whatever. And now no one knows how to do that stuff.
Right.
And so home services is just going to continue to blow up.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
You want a multi-million-dollar business? That's where you go.
Yeah. Become a plumber or any of the home services out there.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's, the stat is something like 60% of that workforce is retiring in the next 10 years. And it's going to, 60%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's
which
scary.
just means there's so much opportunity opening up to have a successful business in any of those, in the trades, any of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
wild.
And that, I watched that podcast about the trades. And
I think, was that the one with Scott and Stacy from Catamount Consulting?
yes, it was, and Derek.
Yeah. And Derek, we were down at AGC down in Albany, and or Latham or wherever that is. And we were talking about like how to like create entrepreneurs in the trades and like how to use entrepreneurship kind of like as that carrot almost to get people to go into the trades, because there's already a huge skills gap, and it's just getting bigger.
Yeah. And I was just out in Phoenix talking to a franchisor about it, and I think it was like 40 people that they just brought on. Only one of them had any experience in the trade.
Oh, wow.
Only one. Again, they're looking for those business owners. Everything's trainable. Everything is, right? And their training program's super robust. I mean, it's comparable to a trade school, right? So they are going after, you guys were talking about going into the high school, getting people who are interested in it there. That's one of their markets that they go after when they're recruiting people. they were sharing that they had a 17-year-old who was doing electrical work after hours.
Well, I
right?
mean,
He goes to school during the day, and he's going out with one of their experienced electricians, learning the trade
and getting paid for
and
it.
getting paid for it.
You get to learn while you earn.
Yep.
It's my favorite thing. Like to anybody that's in high school is getting ready to go to college, I'm like, if you don't have a specific career path that requires college, like go into the trades. You can get a job and get paid to learn how to do the job. You don't get college debt. And by the time you're in your early 20s, you're making $50, $60, $80, $90,000 a year, and you have no college debt.
Yep.
And all these kids coming out with hundreds of thousands of dollars in college debt, and they're still waiting tables and making 30 or 40 grand a year with all that debt. Like,
that's where the money is, Mike, is in the trades.
Yeah.
I mean, they when I was out there, they put up, all of their technicians, and they, from my perspective in the Sandler, this is going back to the Sandler, right? That technician's that trusted person in the house, right? That homeowner doesn't see them as a salesperson and is willing to share with them additional things. And so they have that opportunity to upsell and solve all of that homeowner's solutions, right? And so that's what I liked about this franchisor. They put up what their goals were, how much revenue they expected each one. I mean, you need to be tracking who's doing well. Their top technician was bringing in $200,000 a month.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And that's what their pay was, $200,000.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, not bad for
Not bad at all.
working HVAC.
Yep. He was
As
an
a
electrician.
an electrician.
Yeah.
Still, a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
I know AI is taking over my field, so I'm going to be out of a job soon. I might have to go start a HVAC or some sort
Electrical.
of franchise, some sort of home services, something.
Yeah.
I did have one question that's kind of self-serving.
Okay.
When you're looking at you're a business owner and you've got multiple locations, license or franchise, like what's the difference between those two things?
What do you mean by license?
Well, so you can like have a licensee that basically is like using your brand, but you're not going through it's like a franchise light.
Yeah. They're really, thinking of one that I know, they're really light on the support, right? They don't provide you insights into, the marketing. You probably have to do that on your own. They're not gathering the financial information. So you really are lost. Where do I stand, right? Am I doing good? Am I right where I'm supposed to be for year 1 in the business, year 5, wherever you are? Versus that franchise, you're reporting your stuff up because you do have to pay percentage of your gross, right? Let's just be honest about that. That's the cost.
Is that how it works with franchises?
Yeah, you pay a percentage of your gross revenue to them, but you get all kinds of support. You get the ongoing coaching, right? You have access to a franchise business coach who knows the industry. He's going to be looking at your numbers, telling you, if you're on or you're off target, where you're supposed to be. Just somebody to call and talk to and say, hey, this is going on. What do I do? I experienced this. You have that network of other owners, marketing, resources are done for you. A franchise does national marketing, but you're responsible for your local. You have to really do that. But chances are they'll give you the assets, the ads to place, and the training. Many of them get together at least once a year for a convention, bringing the owners together.
So it's the system and the support.
System and support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything that you hoped I'd ask that I didn't? Look at your list, Janice.
Look at my list. I know. Well, why don't you ask me how successful franchises are?
How successful are franchises, Janice?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Like,
That's what I
thanks
do.
for
That's what I do.
asking. Right? So, because you can always go out and start your own business, but franchising at year 5, 85% are still operational.
That's a pretty good number considering the statistic for non-franchise businesses.
You're doing it all on your own, right? You have nobody to talk to. You're really figuring it all out. You're juggling every single ball, and let me tell you, there's a lot of them, right?
That's like 20%, right? Is it like 1 in 5 or whatever?
Yeah, 1 in 5. Yep. So, they made the mistakes. They know what works. They're there. They want you to be successful. So they'll do everything in their power to make sure that you're successful. Because when you're successful as a franchise owner, they're successful. Yeah. I had some other thought I was going to add in there too.
I felt like maybe you had something else.
I did. I can't remember it.
It happens. I know. I know we're getting short on time too. If people would like to learn more about the franchises you have to offer or how you can help them franchise, where do they find you?
You can find me at Janice at newtrailsbusiness.com or 518-339-5621.
And are you on the social medias?
I am on LinkedIn.
You're on LinkedIn.
You're going to help me get on the other social media. You are. Yeah.
Okay. If you want. If you insist.
I insist.
Well, thank you for coming out to the farm.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Absolutely. Anytime. I don't have any eggs to give you, though. I kind of feel like
Man,
they're all out in the
I
coop.
gotta
I
stop at the Stewart's on
That
the way
was it.
home then.
I'm slacking. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Of course, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, and Rumble. Website, buyinglocal.us, is our media site. You can find not just our podcasts, but other podcasts as well. We've got Steven Zabala, who recently launched Food for Thought podcast. He owns Green Fork here in Saratoga Springs. Meal delivery service. Does a great job. Food's amazing. Obviously, Blue Collar Startup that I do with Derek Foster, where we talk about the trades and try to get people excited about that. And we've got some other things we're working on as well. And of course, you can read all of our great articles that you can find in print are also online over there too. So, and last but not least, thanks to our community partners. You got to thank those guys. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast and supporting Buying Local. Without you guys, we can't do it. And I think that's it. I think we're closing.
Oh, good.
That's a wrap, Janice.
That's a wrap.
That's
Thanks,
a wrap.
Mike.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for listening and watching.